Coming up in this episode of Flirtations, it's a solo one, y'all, as I'll be breaking down what luck in dating really means and answering some of your most asked dating questions. Like, is finding love really just a roll of the dice, or do we have more control over the outcome than we think? What about right person, wrong time? How much does timing actually have to do with it? Are some people just lucky in love? What about soulmates? Is there such thing as the one? I'll also share plenty of mindset tips for stepping into a mindset of abundance and how we can work with luck energy to ultimately create a deeper love for ourselves and find lasting, fulfilling relationships. So, if you've ever wondered how much of dating is effort versus timing versus sheer luck, this episode is for you. Let's get into it, Flirty.
I heard you wanted to flirt. I heard you wanted to flirt. I heard you wanted to flirt. Hello, my name is Benjamin. I'm the flirt coach and a gay Libra. Everyone has an inner flirt.
Hey, flirty.
Live, laugh, flirt.
Work the flirt.
Work the flirt. Delulu is the Salulu. Expert on the flirt.
Hey, flirty. There's always another flirt.
Everyone has an inner flirt. Get out of your head and into the flirt.
Flirties, hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Flirtations with me, Benjamin, the flirt coach, a solo episode coming for you today as we talk about answer the question, is dating a game of luck in honor and celebration of St. Patrick's Day? If you're listening to this upon debut, observing, celebrating this magical day, be safe out there. Have an amazing time. Catch a flirt or two, if you will, if you're feeling fancy. Yes, settle in as we talk about the role of luck. We're going to be getting into your dating questions throughout this conversation, and I want to open it with a definition of luck. I think it's very important to ground us, to frame us in the conversation, give us some context so we know what we're working with and we know where we're going. So that's a good thing. I define luck as the intersection of preparation and opportunity. It is where preparation and opportunity meet. This is something I heard many years ago. I don't know when and where, but it's something that has stuck with me for my whole life. And I think this definition of luck is really important and has helped me because it demystifies a little bit what luck actually is. I think sometimes we equate luck to the experience of, let's say you're playing Monopoly and you know where you're just broke. All right, you ain't got no money. And so you roll the dice and you just happen to bypass all the properties with the houses and hotels on them. All right, you land on community chest or chance and you get to collect, right, some insurance. Now that is luck. You didn't really do much to do that other than roll the dice, and they just landed on what they landed on. But let's use this example, this analogy of sorts for, let's say, a game of poker. So let's say you're in Vegas or you're just having a card night with some friends, and you know what, you're a little bit experienced, okay? This is not your first time playing poker, so you're prepared. Okay. And also, as you're playing poker, you know what? You're a little bit of a whiz. You're in your head, just slightly being strategic, and you're counting cards. Okay. You're observing body language. You're looking at eye contact. You're just really taking in the energy of the room, and you're seizing those opportunities. Using your preparation, your experience, your knowledge of the game, pairing that with the opportunities that present themselves in the moment. Oop, and now you got lucky. You got lucky a little bit. I mean, you didn't magically determine what order the cards would be in the deck. No, you didn't do that. You can't control or predict someone else's actions, what they may discard, what they may pick up, what they may do. So a little bit of luck, yeah. I mean, you're going to have some of that. But is preparation and opportunity a part of the game? Hell yeah. And so I really like this definition of luck because I think it brings more control to our experiences when sometimes it can feel like, certainly when we're dating, making connections, forming relationships, that there's so much out of our control. So let's apply this framework to dating, where maybe you're sitting here, you're listening to this single, and you're comparing yourself to someone else, someone you saw on social media, someone in your friend network, someone in your family, right? Someone you even mildly know, somewhat like, and you're like, damn, how did they get that person? How are they in a relationship? How are they dating and I'm not? Did they just get lucky? I mean, how many times have we had that experience and said that to ourselves? Show of hands. I'm going to raise my hand right now. And you may be thinking, why not me? What did I not do or what am I doing wrong? And so if you've had that experience where you're looking externally and you're really comparing yourself to other people and thinking, gosh, what are they doing right? How did they get so lucky? Oftentimes we don't know their circumstances. We don't know their situations. We don't know the nuances of how those connections and those relationships formed, nor do we know what is actually happening in the context of that connection. Oftentimes we see just like, oh, things must be picture perfect. We're seeing the highlight reel, or we're making observations. We're filling in the gaps of, wow, they just must be so happy, right? Everything must be perfect. When in reality, we don't know that. Flirty, we don't know that. So are they truly just lucky, whoever you're thinking about, whoever you're comparing yourself to? We're going to be getting into the timing piece of dating a little bit. I think more than luck is involved. It's really about timing. And so if you're having this experience in your life while you're dating, or maybe you're taking a break right now, all good, all good. Take the break. All right. Spend some time with you. Focus on yourself. Yes. I love that as a dating strategy. Ultimately, what this can do is place you in this scarcity mindset, right? In this mindset of lack. What am I doing wrong? What don't I have? Do I need to heal more? Do I need to grow more? Do I need to change something about myself? Do I need to be more appealing, more alluring, more attractive to the people that I want to be attracted to, right? That I'm looking to date. And ultimately, when you're in this headspace of lack, of scarcity, you're not going to be able to see the opportunities, right? You may be doing all the preparation. You feel like you're focusing so much on yourself. You're doing everything right. You're on the apps. You've got the picture perfect profile, right? You're working on yourself. You're going out. You're doing things. You're meeting people. You're making connections. But if you're in this mindset of lack, of scarcity, the opportunities you're not going to see. You're just not going to be open to. Or maybe you do have those opportunities. They present themselves and you self-sabotage and you're critical and you're judgmental and you're really operating from this place of fear, right? What if it doesn't work out? What if they leave? What if they reject me? What if they ghost me? What if they break up with me? And now you're future pacing. You're thinking about all the ways something won't work out, all the ways something could go wrong. And well, now how can luck find you? How can you bring that into your life if you're being so critical and judgmental and really vibrating in some of these low vibration emotions like grief and loss and guilt and shame and embarrassment and just feeling not so great about yourself and your opportunities? Right? Just about your dating life. It's different. Like I want to say here, if you're really grieving maybe the loss of a connection or a relationship or experiences that you didn't have, maybe like the teenage romance or the first kiss or the prom date or something like that, it's all good to experience, to feel those emotions. To feel is to heal. And so I want you to feel it, right? If you're in that space right now, what you resist persists. So if you're pushing something off, you're not allowing yourself to feel something, even if it is really uncomfortable. I want to encourage you to be with it. If you need to seek out support from a coach, a therapist, a practitioner, a professional, friends, family, coworkers, neighbors, please do that. You don't have to do any of this alone. But ultimately, what I hope to help you with and what I hope you get from this episode and just my content and just all the content you're absorbing, the books you're reading, the podcasts you're listening to, is that we start to elevate our own vibrations. We start to ascend that vibrational pyramid and start to enter into some more feel good emotions and feelings like contentment, fulfillment, happiness, love, appreciation, gratitude, excitement, fun, joy, laughter, humor, right? These are all really, really great places to be. Not that we'll stay there or be there forever, but if we can spend more of our time there overall, at least over time, right? That's the trend. We're able to really be in that space. Well, all of a sudden, I'm just going to say some lucky things may start to happen. And why? Because you're open to the opportunities. You're able to see them. You're able to embrace them. You're able to take them in, to take advantage of them, to say yes to them, because you're saying yes to yourself. right? You're not operating in this mindset of lack, of scarcity, of fear anymore. You're now like, what if it does work out? What if it does happen for me? What if I can do this, achieve this, get this, be this, right? Whatever it is. I mean, having goals is like really, really cool and important. I want you to have some goals, some manifestations, some things you're working towards. But when we attach so much to those experiences and maybe we're operating more, right, in these low vibrational frequencies, well, then the gap between where we are now and where we want to be, the gap between where we are now and the thing we want, the relationship we want, the person, the connection, the job, the career, the school, whatever, the experience, the love. It seems so far away. And then we're looking outside of ourselves, right? Oh my God, how did they get that? How did they do this? How did they whatever, whatever? And it makes other people seem so lucky. And I'm not denying that luck is, sometimes befalls people that don't really deserve it. I mean, that's part of this. That's part of this too. Like, damn, what did they do? Flirty, come back to you, be where your feet are. Okay. Be in this moment, be with yourself, be with this conversation, wherever you are in the world, and start to ascend that vibrational pyramid, really allowing your experiences of self love, of healing, of growth to be your preparation so you can be open to receive the opportunities that are going to present themselves to you. I'm a big believer that what is meant for you will be for you, that what you seek is seeking you, but, and it's a big but, are you in the vibrational frequency to receive those opportunities and really take advantage of them, say yes to them? So I hope the first part of this conversation, demystifying the role of luck in love, in dating, and in life more generally, has been helpful. All right, Flirty, now we're going to get into the part of the episode where I try and guess what's going on in your head and what you're thinking. So for the flirty thinking, well, Benjamin, like you're saying to yourself, I'm doing all of the work. Like I've done so much healing. I've done so much personal growth. I really feel like I love myself. I'm in a good headspace. I'm in a good space in my life and I'm ready to meet that person. I feel like I'm saying yes to the opportunities. I'm operating, really vibrating in these frequencies of abundance and it's still not happening for me. And you're asking yourself, when is it going to happen? Where is my person? Where is the love? I'm right here. I'm ready. Where is it? Flirty? I want to say to you, first of all, fantastic job on working on yourself, doing the work to heal, right? To heal from old patterns, old ways, cycles, limiting beliefs, really elevating, transcending your old self to become the person you are now, the person you are today, the person you were always meant to be. I celebrate you. I congratulate you. And I'm going to say something that's going to be unbelievably frustrating. And that is be patient. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Flirty, but I love you, Flirty. And I'm holding your hand while I say it. At least your finger, your pinky finger, pinky's up. Okay, Libra. After all, that's my new favorite joke, by the way. I did it in a video the other day, and I thought it was so clever. Stay patient. I'm going to reiterate what I said a few moments ago. What is meant for you will be for you. What you seek is seeking you. And we're going to get into the timing piece of luck here in just a moment. I also want to address the Flirty that may be thinking, well, okay, not so much thinking, but assuming things. Okay. You're assuming things about people's relationships, about people's connections, that everything must be fantastic. But I want us to get out of this habit of trying to fill in the gaps about people and guess who they are, what they're about, what is happening in their lives. It's one thing to ask people questions. Like if you really admire someone, if you look up to someone and you would be like, oh my gosh, how did you meet your partner, your husband, your wife, right? Whoever, how, like, what are some things that you feel like work really well in your relationship? Do you have any advice for me? Do you have any dating tips? I mean, that's kind of why you're here, at least a little bit. Maybe you just really like the flirt coach, but you're probably more likely here for some healing and some helpful advice. yes, that's why you're listening. So it's one thing to look up to admire, to ask questions, to be curious. That's really where I'm going with this, rather than assuming and trying to fill in the gaps, put all the puzzle pieces in the just right place. That, you know what they say about assuming, maybe you've heard this, maybe you haven't, but assuming only makes an ass out of you and me. You can't spell assume without ass and me. So that is another phrase that I have long held on to throughout my life. And anytime I catch myself making assumptions, I come back to the moment, I be where my feet are, and I don't want to be an ass. I mean, I kind of like looking at one from time to time. Yes. I mean, with consent, but yes, I don't want to necessarily make an ass out of myself by assuming things that aren't necessarily true. So it is not our responsibility to think, damn, how did they get so lucky? They don't deserve that. What's wrong with me? But they're a terrible person. They don't deserve that. Come back to you, their life. Does it impact you? Does it affect you? Does it have anything to do with you? If not, it doesn't matter. Final thing you may be thinking, and I'm not going to spend much time on this because honestly, it rather pisses me off to even think about it too much. And that is, life isn't fair, flirty. It's not entirely fair. Some people have advantages that you won't have. Some people were brought into this world with advantages that you didn't have when you entered this world. What are you going to do about it? I think I have to acknowledge as a part of this conversation that we don't all have the same opportunities that everyone else has. And this may be why you're looking outside of yourself. You're looking at other people. You're comparing yourself to other people. That's all fine. You're having a human experience in a human body. But think about how much time, energy, and attention you are spending looking outside of yourself, focusing on other people. Think of these as energy drains, energy leaks, how much you are giving away, essentially giving away your power. Energy is power. When they didn't ask for it, they don't want it, they don't deserve it. Bring it back to you, call it back to you, okay? Be with you, focus on what you do have control over. And if something is disempowering, it's taking your energy away from you, bring it back, call it back, focus on you, prepare, seek out those opportunities, and allow what is looking for you to freaking find you. Are you going to allow your circumstances, while they may be very, very real and very limiting at times, are you going to allow them to control you and determine your fate? Or are you going to take control and determine your own fate for you? This is where, okay, we can play in the space of luck, right? Flirt with your delusion, okay? Live in your fantasy. If you need to, you got my full support to do just that. Okay, now we're going to be getting into timing, fate, and the illusion. I love the word illusion. The illusion of randomness in dating. And is there such thing as the right person, right time, right person, wrong time, wrong person, right time, all of the things? Here's the truth of the matter and what I believe. The only truth is right person, right time. And that time may be for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. People come into our lives not always for the long-term relationship that lasts forever, that lasts for decades, that lasts for a lifetime. Sometimes it's to teach us something, like it or not. Sometimes it's to help us learn something about ourselves. Sometimes it's to help us grow, to heal, right? To acknowledge some hurt, some pain, some loss, grief within us. And someone comes into our lives to help us transcend that so that we can vibrate in those higher energies. Sometimes we're placed in someone else's life so we can help them, so we can heal them. And in turn, in the process, we get healed ourselves. We learn something about ourselves. Where I think it gets tricky and where it gets dangerous, and a lot of us have been in these connections and these relationships as well, is when we stay too long, when we have been drawn to the qualities and characteristics in another person that reinforce beliefs about ourselves. This is a little bit of confirmation bias that comes into play in dating, where, I mean, I know maybe you don't want to hear this. This is such a hard lesson, but if you're really lacking self-esteem and self-worth, you may be drawn to emotionally unavailable people who confirm the bias, the belief you have about yourself, right? And so once you develop self-awareness around that pattern, around that habit, if that's present for you, you can begin to change it. I also want to acknowledge here that it's okay if every single thing is not a learning experience. It's exhausting if we feel like we have to learn, if we feel like every mistake we make has to teach us something. And so if you're struggling, like, oh my gosh, what is the thing? Like, I feel like I have to learn or I have to figure out or I have to solve. Maybe let go of your attachment to always having to learn something, of always having to heal and grow, and just acknowledge that an experience was an experience, right? You're here having a human experience on this floating rock we call Earth. And sometimes it's just that. Sometimes there's not exactly depth or meaning to every single thing we experience. However, if you're repeating patterns, something to notice and approach with curiosity. So, right person, wrong time. I think it's right person, right time, but that right person may not be right for us long term. So they may not be in our lives for the amount of time that we hope or desire they may be. Sometimes they're there to teach us something, to highlight something within ourselves that maybe we need to work on, or sometimes they're there to remind us something about ourselves that we had forgotten, right? Just about how freaking amazing we are. And there are other times when it's just so wrong. Just so wrong, and there's really nothing to learn, and let's just maybe forget it ever happened. And now we're going to get into a couple other timing things when it comes to dating that I know you, the flirties, are thinking about. And here I want to talk about emotional readiness, which is such an important thing that often gets overlooked in this conversation about dating, luck, and timing. I've made some content really thinking about Flirtini #1 of Flirtations, where I introduced to you all the emotional CAR. CAR, an acronym for emotional capacity, emotional availability, and emotional readiness. Using this acronym and this episode to really help you know whether you're ready to date and help you know whether the people you're looking to date are in fact ready to date. And I'm going to simplify it today, flirties. Think about emotional capacity like this. Do they have the time and energy to date? That is really what emotional capacity comes down to. And next, in the emotional CAR, we have availability. This is the one you probably heard the most about. And I added this one to the acronym, not only because you're familiar with it, but also because it's important that someone not only have the time and energy, but they also be available emotionally to consider you as a potential partner for them. So often we get attached to, oh, they're making time for me. Oh, they're texting me. Oh, they're going on dates. But then on the dates, like, there's not really a lot of emotional depth or connection there. They're not really asking questions. It doesn't really seem like they're getting to know you, or maybe the connection stays more surface level, superficial. It's based on physical attraction. Maybe you're hooking up, but other than that, there's really not a lot there. They don't seem emotionally available as a potential partner, which is wildly and critically important. So someone could have capacity, but not availability, or, and this is where it gets really, really tricky. This is probably one of the trickiest things about dating. Someone could have capacity and availability, but not be ready. And this is the one, quite honestly, that trips y'all up the most. The person that is making time for dating, it seems like they've got the energy for it. They're emotionally available. You're developing that connection. But when it gets right down to it, they're just not ready. And the key distinction here is the person that is emotionally ready is going to bring you into their life. And the person that is ready, or maybe this person is you, flirty, it could be you as well. What you're going to find when you're dating is all of the resistance, all of the friction that you may have experienced in the past. Like, it just becomes a little bit easier. It doesn't mean that you're not merging perhaps different attachment styles or different points of view or different traumas, different upbringings. Like, this is going to be a process, but it's not going to be met with so much resistance, so much friction, so much what if, but this, but that, so many excuses, right? Are they emotionally ready is a big one. And when it comes to dating, timing, and luck, I know we put so much focus on luck. I mean, that's what this episode is about. But when it comes down to, is someone emotionally ready? I hope talking about the emotional CAR in this episode on luck, really focusing on emotional readiness, was helpful in the whole timing piece of this conversation. The other timing piece that I want to talk about for just a moment is that of physical proximity. right? So much about timing is who is in our environment, who are we meeting, even if you're on the apps, who are you able to match with, who you're able to have a conversation with. And this goes back to the part of luck about opportunity, right? Are you giving yourself those opportunities to meet people? Yeah, whether it's online, virtually, it's in person. Maybe you're taking some solo trips, you're going to some events, you're going out with friends. You've got to give yourself those opportunities to just meet people. I mean, how many meet cute moments, how many stories of those first interactions have we heard that are just so completely and utterly freaking random? Right? I know you've heard those stories. You've heard a few of them here on Flirtations. So unbelievably random. But let's think about all the aspects of luck and timing that we've been talking about thus far. And are they as random as they may seem? I'm going to say not exactly. The universe in their invisible hand, always working its magic in our lives, in our love lives, doing its thing. So random? I don't know. Maybe right person, right time, and a little bit of luck where preparation and opportunity meet. All right, flirties, thank you so much for being here. I hope you've been enjoying this conversation. I'm not going away just yet. A little bit more to go. Now, transition music, the Q&A portion of the conversation for the luck-themed episode and observation celebration observance of St. Patrick's Day. The first question, I mean, I've really been answering your questions all episode long. Up first, is dating really just about being in the right place at the right time? Okay, I hope we've got some context for that and what it really means to be in the right place at the right time. We're not just talking about physical location, we're talking about emotional capacity, availability, and readiness as well, and also belief. I mean, we've been talking about belief somewhat throughout this conversation. Do you believe that the love you seek is seeking you? If the perfect person presented itself to you, your soulmate was standing right there in front of you, what would you do? What would you do? They treated you like the queen, the king that you are. Would you be okay with that? Would you be willing to accept it? Would you feel that you're deserving of it? Right place, right time. I mean, there's something to it. There's something to it. But also believing that you're deserving of that love. You're emotionally in the right place at the right time to receive the love that is seeking for you. All right, next question. Do some people just get lucky in love? All right, I think we've got to acknowledge that there are some natural advantages perhaps people have. I mean, one I'm thinking of, if you're working 2-3 jobs, you're fighting just to put a roof over your head, right? You're going to have limited time, emotional capacity, and maybe availability and readiness as well to date versus someone that's, got a really high paying job. They maybe even work part-time, 20 hours a week. Well, they got a lot more free time. Your situation, if you're working a ton, not impossible, not impossible. We got to focus on what we can control and focus on what is possible for us, what we can do and believe, while also acknowledging that some people may have more time. They may have more money. They may have been born into a family where they were modeled really, really healthy relationship dynamics and have a really good idea of what healthy, secure love looks like. Maybe they didn't have a trauma or two that we experienced. So do some people just get lucky in love? I hope we've demystified luck a little bit, brought some maybe tangible elements to this whole luck conversation, while also, keeping in mind that some people have some advantages in this process. They just do. And that's okay. We can acknowledge that without comparing ourselves, without getting jealous, without getting angry, or thinking somehow our life lacks something, right? How much does timing matter in dating and relationships? I think we've thoroughly answered that one. Yes. Okay. Do soulmates exist, or do we just make relationships work with whoever we meet? I like to demystify, well, quite honestly, a lot of things now that I'm thinking about it. But this idea of the one, that we have one soulmate, one perfect person out of the billions of people on earth, I just find that to be a very limiting concept. It's romantic. I like that part, but also a little bit limiting. And I think can create some pressure to find that perfect person, that perfect match. Maybe now we have really insanely high expectations of what dating should look like. I mean, I don't want you to settle. I don't want you to sacrifice standards or boundaries or anything like that, but that we only have one perfect person, I don't know. I more so believe in soul connections. I do, soul connections. And I think we can experience many soul connections throughout our life. And I think it also, if we really subscribe to this idea of the one, that it places a lot of conditions on what that love can or maybe should look like. It becomes a little bit more about checking a box rather than, is this connection fulfilling for me? And then we can also step out of the scarcity mindset into that mindset of abundance, of limitlessness, where if we think we're searching for that one person, we may, and this is the truth of it, overlook some very good matches for us. I think this idea of the one can sometimes keep us stuck and single for a lot longer than we should be. Let's do this one. Are some people just unlucky in love? No, I think some people have limiting beliefs. They've had difficult experiences and difficult pasts, some traumas that make it harder to date and to develop those emotional connections. And I also think, right, just circumstances of where we're at in life, even where we live, maybe we don't have a lot of opportunities to meet people in our everyday environment. So going back to, the first question that was posed for this Q&A portion of the episode, and some of the themes we've been talking about throughout this conversation thus far. Are some people just unlucky? I think we sometimes have different circumstances, or not sometimes, we have different circumstances than other daters, and we just can't compare ourselves to other people. Final question, does believing in luck take away personal accountability? I think if we really want to play in sort of the energy of luck, sometimes we can go to the extreme and be like, oh, well, whatever happens, happens, right? Whatever. I mean, there's nothing I can do to really control my fate or my future. So let me just throw my hands up and say, what the hell? I think doing so can be helpful in detaching from expectations, but that doesn't give you a pass for doing the inner healing, the work to grow, to step into your limitlessness, out of limiting beliefs, out of a scarcity mindset into one of abundance, so that you can really grow into your full potential, so you can transcend your ego, transcend your stories, your old beliefs, and become who you were always meant to be, who you are destined to be, who you are going to be, because you're here and you're doing the work and you're listening to Flirtations and me, Benjamin, the Flirt Coach. Okay, I hope, yes, those are the questions for the Q&A portion of the episode. Now wrapping things up, the official outro will be after the outro music. Flirty, thank you so much for listening. Please do rate, review, subscribe to the show if you haven't already. I mean, if you're going to do any of those things, I'd love for you to pick one, and that's a review. You can review as a thumbs up if you're listening on YouTube. You can review by leaving some stars on Spotify or Apple. I recommend 5 is my lucky number. It just sounds great. You can also leave a written review on Apple. And if you're listening on Spotify, leave a comment. That would help me out tremendously, immensely in my own goals here with the Flirtations Flirtcast. Yes, I hope this has been helpful. Officially signing off in just a moment. All right, Flirties, that's a wrap on this episode of Flirtations, the Is Dating a Game of Luck episode, the St. Patrick's Day episode, the official outro. Here, no guest to thank, just thank me, I guess, thanking myself. Yeah, thanks, Benjamin, for being on the show today. I really enjoyed that conversation. Yeah, wonderful. You're amazing. Love you. Thank you to the Flirties for listening, for tuning in, for streaming. That's who I should really be thanking. Couldn't do any of this without you. Please rate, review, subscribe to the show. Yeah, share it with a friend, someone you even mildly like, someone you want to share some BFE, Big Flirt energy with. I'd appreciate and love you for it. Maybe check out a new episode or another episode of Flirtations. It's already streaming. Come over to the socials. There's Flirtstagram, Flirt Talk, FlirtTube, recently up on the Facebook, LinkedIn, and yeah, I think that does it for me here at Flirt Headquarters, signing off officially now. My name is Benjamin. I'm the Flirt Coach and Gay Libra Flirty. Happy flirting.